This world is pretty tough to understand, with countries always fighting, politicians always competing, money always moving. So how could anyone possibly make sense of it all? Many people have developed theories in the past as to how humans and the world work, but all of them are flawed in one way or another. It turns out that no one really knows what's going to happen, and the fastest way to find out is to wait, which doesn't really work. So, if we can't truly explain it, then how can we make the least bit of sense of it? One way is finding out where we fit in. Knowing how we are related to the world helps us cope with the inexplicability of it all by giving us comfort in our identities or the things that make us who we are. There are many things that contribute to one's identity. It could be anything from a country to a career. Whatever it may be, part of life is the journey, which means so is learning who you are. In this sense, it is the journey to find understanding, belonging, and ultimately, happiness. Each person's path is self-determined. Everyone on the path, every consciousness, has their own will to learn about themselves and decide what to make of the world. For many, thinking about how to get what they want, how to make more money or power, feels more important than understanding themselves. Some people are more interested in how the world works rather than just how to make it work for them. Both are learnable. We can understand the world enough to get the things we want, or just for the sake of understanding. These things can be taught, and they are important. Without understanding how to make the world work for you, you can't live very well, and understanding for the sake of understanding often leads to many interesting discoveries. However, to know yourself is the one thing no one else can teach you. You have to find that out for yourself. Anyone else can observe you, listen to you, but we each have the potential to know ourselves better than anyone else because we hear our thoughts in our minds. An identity is composed of many different ideas, and there is no limit to what is part of your identity. Nowadays, the idea of identity is tied to gender, but it is by no means limited to it. It is just the things that are important to you when you really get down to it, so it's not really limited by any group of ideas. Anything from your family to a favorite book could be part of your identity. You can be part of a family and you can love reading a great story. On top of that, any identity is malleable. One day you might believe one idea, but a better one may come along and you can decide to embrace that one instead. Allowing yourself to be things you weren't before is a way to learn who you are and what you're really like, instead of simply deciding who you are one day and being trapped like that. It enables you to evolve in a changing world and be truer to yourself than you were before. You can even experiment with who you want to be in order to see if you fit in anywhere you didn't expect, or just to understand yourself better. It's unlikely that anyone will ever fully understand themselves, just because the human brain is so complex. However, it is enough to know yourself to the extent that you know what is best for you. Once you know that, knowledge becomes a key to living your best life. It makes purpose out of wandering. It creates a structure for life, a way to find sense in the world, because it makes what you do and think part of an order of things that neatly ends with yourself. That's what this whole idea of a life's journey is, a way to think about the world that lets us decide what the future is for ourselves. Instead of relying on the limited past to dig up answers to our big questions, we become masters of our own destinies when we think, plan, and act out our own ideas instead of somebody else's. And in order to devise your destiny, you must know yourself.